which which is actually a culmination of which we in media parlance called cumulative experience coming from academicians, learners, professionals, peer groups, subordinates, everyone. So I have the culmination of those, and I'll try to answer the best possible way to all the queries. So how should we begin? That's the fundamental. How should we break the ice?
Okay.
Is there any thought, any question which is
So
coming to your
this
mind?
is, yeah, when you say planning principle, it's not like in a single line answer, right? So why don't you start with that, like in explaining? So probably like in people can pick up what do you think like in a planning principle is like, and what is that they are must, and what is that we should be doing? What is that we shouldn't be doing? Is there any thought you have as per your experience? Probably you can start with that, and then we'll see where it goes.
Okay. Uh, what I have learned so far is there is no hard and fast thumb rule on the planning principles. Everybody tries to make their own planning principles based on the under the bracket is the context. The context is very, very important. And that paves the way for the planning principles. So everybody has their own process to follow. But yeah, there are certain guidelines which have been laid down by different consultancy companies, different media practitioners across the world, global practices which is happening, and we are trying to follow all those in some or the other way. But before that, I would like to ask one question even before you start the question or you shoot questions onto me. Could you answer me what is the business that we are in? You can put it on chat as well. What is the business that we are in?
Media, I would say.
Okay.
Demand and supply, Sujeet.
Demand and supply.
Demand and supply, Sujeet.
Okay.
Communication.
Communication.
Servicing.
Servicing.
Actually, servicing. Yeah.
If you guys are not going to answer, then how will you guys ask the questions, man?
Advertising.
Whatever comes to your mind.
In simple terms, building a bridge between the consumer and the brand.
Consumer and brand interface. Okay.
Advertising.
Advertising. More.
Brand promotions, I said. Did you hear that?
Brand promotions.
Acha. Okay.
That is it.
Brand
Everything connected to a brand, whether advertising,
Everything connected to a
promotion,
brand.
servicing, everything connected to the brand.
Perfect. Perfect. I should have actually set out a poll in this, put up a poll. Then probably we could have got a word cloud that okay, which ones are bigger ones. But there are no wrong answers. There are no right answers. Every answer is right depending on again the context and your understanding. So yes, we are in media, we are in communication, we are in brand promotion, we are in brand building. Everything is true. But all this leads to one fundamental core competency of ours, our business. And that is effective advisory role. We are perceived as and positioned as by all the top global media practitioners as effective advisory role. We are a consultancy. We handle money of the client, right? And how do we do that? Is through different ways, which is, okay, we have the media, we have the content, we have the influencers. So different ways to actually use that money in an effective way and giving the right solution to the client. That is our whole soul role. Now, if this is what it is as an effective advisory role, then can you start asking me questions that what do you expect out of the effective advisory role? and what are the kind of questions that you get from your client. I will share my experiences, you share your experiences, your questions.
The basic one is how and where do I spend my money?
Oh, good. So how and where do we spend the client's money, which is
Yes.
ours money? Okay. Any other question?
How are you better than any other agency?
How are we better than any other agency? Perfect. Yes. This question has to be answered because we are again perceived to be an effective advisory, and if we are able to differentiate ourselves, we are being taken as a effective agency. That is the differentiation. Okay. I do understand that just talking is not going to help. So I have prepared few slides so that we are able to moderate the conversation. Let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Perfect. So, as I said, effective advisory role, and that particular role asks for 4 fundamental questions to be answered, which is always a client question. What, why, where, and how. Am I right?
Yeah, Sujeet.
Yes.
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 And this is what is there in our media as well. What, why, where, and how. What is not here is when, because when is given. We all know the timing. What we don't know is what, why, where, and how. And that is what we are possibly going to take up this whole mentor-mentee session across different functions. Uh, so today we will talk about just what and why. Once you are through with what are the questions that you need to ask, why do you need to ask, or what is that you need to solve, then possibly you will be able to answer where and how, which is your channel and how to do it. Agree, disagree?
Agree.
Yeah.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yes, yes.
So just showing, the question always starts from the customer. You all said it is an interface between a brand and the customer. So a customer journey becomes much more important. In a very highly impulse category like the FMCG, customer journey is not that highly evolved. But as we move towards more rational buying, the customer journey plays a very important role. But the fundamental doesn't change, be it FMCG, be it any damn category. There are problems across any businesses. And that is what the clients expect us to solve. So from where do we start? We start with, as I said, what and why. We start with business objective. What is the business objective that is given as a brief? If we are clear on the business objective, we are able to probably then start thinking of from where is the problem originating, which will help solve the problem statement. You are there to ask questions. Hello?
But sometimes you don't even get these.
Yeah.
So, which is your classic case which you guys faced, I think, during the PNG pitch when see what happens, most of the time, like I have also seen it many a times, they won't tell the problem statement or rather what are they facing right now, but they'll say, "मुझे कुछ करना है, मुझे मुझे चाहिए लोग. I mean, I just need people to, but what is exact? I mean, that sometimes we just get that kind of a brief, and they'll be like, इसमें से you kind of decode. Now you figure out how do you come back with, because you're the expert. Like you're the god to this. Now you figure out the math of pre, post, and during. I leave it up to you. But मुझे
Okay.
पता है मुझे. So sometimes it's very open-ended. We never get the luxury at times to get everything, well written, or
Hmm. Right. So this is a typical problem which all of us face and have been facing since we have started our jobs, right? That we never get a clear cut, clearly defined business objective because the client themselves are not very clear at times that what are they chasing. So in that situation, again, I said with a experience of 18 years and a cumulative experience of 728 years, what I have learned is you define the business objective, go to the client and tell them that this is as per my understanding, whether it is right or wrong. This will give them a little bit of a levy to change it. Probably they will get, okay, no, this is not what I want. This is just like a typical consumer behavior in which the consumer doesn't know that what is his latent need. Similarly are the clients. They probably don't know that what am I chasing? Is it the sales? Is it the business growth? Is it the volume? Is it the brand KPIs? It could be anything. So you need to define and go back to the client and say, this is as per my understanding. Is it right or wrong? So I have been following this kind of methodology. And in the PNG pitch also, we followed this.
So, in this scenario, Sujit, you said that
Yeah.
Sometimes client would say that they wouldn't understand their KPI and what is that they want and things like that. And obviously, we call ourselves as expert, because we have been in this, it's not the one brand we'll be handling, and we will bring our own expertise to the table. So, in your past experience, where it has come back, where you had to deal with the client, where he was giving it a brief, which is way away from the brand objective, and you had to sometimes I've seen people compromising. They'll be they work in two objectives, right? One for the brand and another for the brand manager. So was there any thing you came across where you had to meet the both objective without hurting the client's ego and also making sure that you meet the brand objective? Is there any case studies you can think of, if you could give that? That's a day-to-day problem everyone faces. So I know that it's a bit vague. So probably a certain example from you could help us in tackling the issue further.
Uh, a personal ego and a business objective always goes hand in hand. And we have all been facing this since the industry has been created. The better way to solve that is always give the point of view through data. As there is a famous quote, in God we trust, rest all must bring data, right? If you have the data backup, then probably you have won half the battle by solving the business problem. The client ego is just the way you represent it and satisfies, okay, this is what he wants to see. I'm showing it that way in a different manner, but the same thing. Does that answer your question?
Yes, Sujit, thank you.
So it is always, as I said, it is always important to understand the context and the audience, and then map your business objective, pack it with the data, and make him agree that this is what we are chasing. If the first thing which is your business objective is clearly defined, then keep on looking for the problem statement. And there could be multiple problem statements that you will get. But probably there could be one or two problem statement which is linked to other problem statement. And try to focus on that one or two problem statement to solve.
Sujeet, I wanted to add something here.
Hmm.
Recently we were actually working on a data news brief.
Mhm.
They wanted to basically amplify the content pieces that they have on their app. So they had recommended that they wanted to go with a platform called as Medium, which all of us in the team had never heard of in the past. Like we never used the platform. So, but at the same time, we did some research and we kind of uh, put together a presentation and we presented, although we were not happy with what we were presenting to the client, but we did whatever we could. The client came back with a feedback that, this is not making any sense and why did not you recommend other platforms? But we were under the impression that the client wants to really go with this Medium platform for content amplification. So, according to you, what should be done in such situations when the client is being a little unfair and, not really sticking to the brief?
It is always go back with the recommendation based on facts and the data. The client always may agree, may not agree. Because again, as I said, it is the biasness which is there. And you guys have openly said there is a bit of an ego also. So the agreement, disagreement will always come when there is a ego or a biasness there. But as a typical effective advisor, we always need to go with data and then documented that this is what we recommend as a media practitioner. We believe that this is likely to work. The client will always step back. I have experienced this with 3 of my clients, all large clients, be it Airtel, Samsung, or Ford. This always
Super
works.
advice, this is super advice. What Sujit is saying is absolutely bang on. Never ever go with a solution simply because the client is giving you a feeling that this is what I'm looking at, because you are not just an execution partner for him, right? You have to go with what you think is the best strategic solution, which fits his problem, which will give him the right solution. Am I echoing you, Sujit?
Yes.
But Amita and Sujit, what happened, like as Pooja has mentioned, we gone to them with all the recommendations and all data points in hand. But
Yeah.
what I think is, like the client is not enough educated at like what he is or she is going to do with that, because there was no clear brief, or they are not clear on like what exactly they want, because we have recommended everything how we can. Their main objective was to increase the followers on Medium site, and they want to take the users from different channels to their blog site or on the news article. So we have recommended each and every platform, like from where we can take our users or customers who all are like interested in blogs or are reading blogs to their channel, and from there what all activities they can perform. We have done everything, but still they are like confused. So in that case, like what should we do? Because it is something which is related to like organic growth, right? Where we can't do a paid promotion, and the results are not so quick. And they think like if I do a paid promotion or do something related to like if I pay money and I will get the result within a day. But this is something organic where like results comes after 4 or 5 months back, after 4 or 5 months after executing the campaign. So how should we proceed with this?
Well, organic generally takes time because organic is all dependent upon your brand promotions, the branding. The stronger the branding And the stronger the awareness levels, organic will perform. So you need to identify first is, if the organic is slow, why they are slow? Has the budget been less? Has the communication been not resonating with the right audience? And hence the traffic is not getting diverted to the right destinations. If you are able to showcase those problems and then say that this is what paid will always perform, you will get it. Organic takes time, and you need to have the trend data, the modeling data to show what is the lead and the lag behind those. You may not have all the expertise, but you can take the expertise of the support functions to justify those.
Sujit, if I can just try to summarize what Amit and Pooja were trying to say about
Hmm.
this brief. So, when the brief had come to us from Tata New, it was
Hmm.
essentially all around the Medium platform,
Okay.
which has very low traction in India.
Hmm.
This is something we brought up during the discussion itself, but they were
Mhm.
pretty certain about Medium.
Hmm.
And then we did our research and we found that the options are very limited and it was not really a good option. So we gave a
Mhm.
couple of slides saying drawbacks of Medium, etc. Like, why this is not a good idea, but we did not give an alternative. But at that point, two discussions hence, they changed saying that why don't you give us an alternative then? But the thing was, the original brief was all around Medium. If you were to give a recommendation at that time for an alternate platform,
Hmm.
that would be essentially changing the brief.
Okay.
Because the
Right.
whole story was around them creating a profile on Medium, getting followers on Medium, getting traction on that platform, and sending the referral traffic from Medium to their app.
Always have a plan B.
Okay.
What the client wants and what you are recommending. Always have a plan B and show the comparison.
Okay.
Because your brief is not changing. Your brief is, what you are changing is the usage. The objective remains the same, which is traffic diversion to a certain destination, right?
Right.
What you are changing is the channel usage.
Yes, exactly.
So go with a plan B, that this is what we recommend, and here is the comparison.
Okay, point noted.
Hi, Sujit. I have a question.
Yeah.
Speaking of business objective, right now, this is a real life scenario where I'm talking about a brand who's a market leader, but simultaneously losing the market share at a very slow rate. Now, in this scenario, the client is in a mindset that right now we have our awareness level in place, but we need to test solid consideration.
Hmm.
Now, this is a scenario where we, as an agency, we don't really receive the brand track records, and we don't actually know the exact market shares and how
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
awareness levels are.
Hmm.
But having said that, we also know as a brand, at some point there will be a saturation where you'll have to feed the upper funnel to bring people down the funnel from awareness to consideration, and then the business continues.
Hmm.
So, and no matter how much our efforts we put in, we are not really getting a chance to do awareness, but just a consideration campaign. So, how do you tackle that?
Okay. So this is the same typical problem which also came in 2 days back to us from one of our client, Vida, Hero Vida, electric scooter which got launched 2 months back. So when the campaign was there, the brand was launched, there were a lot of organic searches which were coming, and a lot of paid investment was there. So a huge traffic was going onto the website. And hence the performance plan start picking up using cookies to retarget, and then conversion happened. After a month, the cookie pool has started to saturate, and we have stopped branding. We understood, okay, this is what the problems are, that the intent is falling, and hence we need to again get back the right level of audience for the performance marketing to come up. So your problem of consideration will always be there if The audience pool is not there. So what you need to go back and tell the client is, we again have to grow the audience pool, have a upper funnel campaign, get the audience back to the website or wherever the destinations are, so that the remarketing or the lower funnel can start happening. For that, the kind of different kind of data that you need to look at. You need to look at, this is where the things are, customer journey and the insights, which is the third point. That
Got
what
it.
is the search level, search interest, search volumes. That is the very early indicator of how the brand is performing, right? The second indicator is the visits to the website. The third indicator is the return visitors onto the website. How many times are they returning and to what quantum? If the return visits are very, very low, probably you need to tailor made the communication, because media is not a problem. The communication is a problem. We are not showing the right tailor customized communication so as to attract the right segment of the lower funnel audience or the mid funnel audience. Which means this solution identification will appear. The fourth one.
Got it. Very well explained, Sujit. And in fact, the problem right now was we don't get the website data because all the traffic is going to the retail websites for the people to purchase. But your second answer to the question really helps. We can definitely track the search volume data and show the trend. That was really
Yeah,
helpful.
because every time you may not have the brand track data, because that comes quarterly or half yearly or annually, depending on the client's budget, because those are all syndicated research and the paid one which they do. But search volume is the most early indicator in the consumer journey in today's digital parlance.
True. Very true.
And if I need to show another slide, which will probably help, this is just, I mean, it all changes depending on the category. There are to arrive at the customer journey and the insights and the solution identification, what you need to ask are, this is from a car category, just to give you an idea that how it happens. In the upper funnel, you keep on asking which car is, I mean, this is what the customer asks, right? Which car is best? Is it right for me? These are discovery questions, right? When they are in the research mode. When they have identified, okay, which two, three brands that I need to take, and the variant that I need to take, the question appears is, can I afford it? Which becomes again a mid-funnel question. And then the lower funnel question is, where should I buy it? Am I getting the right deal? Am I getting the right discount? At what seasonality should I buy it? And when is the right time to upgrade, etc. And these are funnel level questions. If you start getting the data behind all this through different sources, then you will identify where the problem lies. It may not be the problem on the discovery, but the problem on the mid funnel, which is actually impacting the lower funnel. Or the consideration might be strong, but depending on the seasonality, the customer is looking forward to a deal. So you can go back and tell the client that every other advertiser in that segment, in that category, are doing promotional deals. So probably this is the time that we need to activate certain deal to minimize the leakage, because we are getting adequate the discovery and the research audience. इतने खामोशी क्यों है भाई?
Sujeet, I had a question.
Yeah.
So when we plan, say we devise a media plan for any sort of client, we tend to have the KPIs that are like average and we tend to not overcommit on anything. But at the same time, if for example, even after our optimization techniques and all, everything is in place. There are
Hmm.
times, I'm sure, when the KPIs, I mean, the campaign is under delivering, KPIs are not met, and
Hmm.
there are situations when the client is just not happy with the results.
Hmm.
So in such situations, how do we, sort of have a damage control plan, and how do we have the client stick around despite bad results of a campaign? And what is it that we can do to assure that, in future campaigns that might not repeat?
Fantastic. Go back to the drawing board. This whole process. So what you're talking about, the it has not performed, which is the measurement piece, right?
Yes, exactly.
The first question that you need to ask typically is, what measurement are you referring to based on the problem statement or based on the business objective? Your probably media KPI may not have performed, right? But your business KPI has performed. Business KPI has performed. It may not be that efficient, but it has been effective. And there are ample ways to prove that. In those scenarios, you just need to show the right data set to show that what has worked, what has not worked, and why it has not worked. And if that has not worked, again, go back to the drawing board from measurement to problem statement. So this is a cyclic process that one needs to keep on doing all the time. So always show two data sets. One is the media KPI, another is the business KPI. And those two are different.
Yeah, Sujit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you are done, I had one question. So, as coming to the planning point of view, so as and when you gain experience in the course of your media journey, so in this category, if you have a certain approach, like come say in the automobile category, you have a certain approach. Like as and when time passes, what I feel is people get their mind fogged, and the approach remains same, and the innovation side of it gets a little blow. So how to keep that innovative touch live throughout the journey of being a successful planner?
Okay. For this, the answer is very simple, is keep always looking at the data and the business. Your passion will be alive. Do not be focused only on the media. Because ultimately, the role of media is to deliver onto certain brand and business. And this is what I started with, right? What business are we in? Effective advisory role. So sometime the business will be doing really good, and sometimes the business will be really a dampener. In those cases, keep the learning curve there with all the data backup. What has worked, what has not worked. At what stage there has been a phenomenal growth which has achieved and why. And the areas where it has not worked at all. All depends upon the category to category. And keep the consumer by your side.
Okay, Sujit. Thank you.
So
When I say
Sujit,
yeah.
so you are saying about the KPIs. Okay, fine. Like we know, we have done a planning and we have shared the report, like plan versus achieve numbers, and we saw that we have over delivered the numbers, right? But we don't have any backend data, right? And we are asking this with the client since like whatever campaigns we have done, we haven't received any backend data because we don't have the access to that. So that we can, if we have to plan a further campaign, we can analyze and we can check which channels have performed well and which should we should drop it off. But we haven't received any data. And if you see about the search volume is constant or there is a slight increase or decrease in the search volume. So what should we do in this case? Because like seniors has also written an email for asking for the data, but we haven't received anything.
Okay. So the next thing which comes is, for any medium, these are the media fundamentals you talk about, right? Reach, frequency, reach curve, frequency curve, GRP. Is there anything beyond this? The rest other, the time spent and all, etc., are derivative of the reach and the frequency, right? Take up any medium or call out any medium. Your whole media KPI is around reach and frequency.
Agreed.
Do you all agree? Not agree?
Yeah, but Sujit, like this, the campaign works towards awareness, okay? And through awareness, they wanted to do a download campaign. They wanted to check like ROI campaign through through awareness campaign. So their main objective was to buy plans on CPM and give them some downloads. So we are not able to check like which platform has given us the better downloads, right?
Yeah.
So in this case, like if let it be like a channel has given me a lesser frequency or lesser number of reach, but if see the backend and that channel has given us given me the good download. So how then I will be able to analyze?
Okay. The download will happen from where? Play Store?
From their app, and this is getting tracked on branch.
Either Google Play Store, the download will happen or through their website, right?
Right.
Okay. So there is a destination in place. So what you can do is, for all the plans or all the channels that you have taken, if the number of downloads is not there, you can show the source of traffic and the number of traffic, right?
Which is not possible on the Play Store, no?
I didn't get that.
Which is not possible on the Play Store, right? So
which
Play
is not
Store
possible on
belongs
a Play
to,
Store. Yeah, which is not possible on a Play Store. But at least there will be some from the website always, right?
Correct me, Amit, if I'm wrong here. So for the Tata you were talking, right? So for that,
yes.
There is no alternative website.
Yeah,
It's
the
only
landing
Play
page
Store.
is only the Play Store, nothing else.
Nothing else. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So Google doesn't provide you this data?
No, they won't.
Google will also not provide, and the client will also not provide on the number of downloads.
Yeah.
Okay. In that case, what is the first step that people do to download that app? They have seen, they will simply go to the mobile app, right? Google Play Store.
Right, and click on install if they want to install.
Click and install, which is there on the creative.
Yeah.
Fine. Then the number of clicks that you can show by platform.
So you're saying the main KPI should only be clicks then that we can show.
Because the number of downloads is not there, then you can use surrogate as clicks. There will certainly there will be a little bit of a leakage, because not all the time all the clicks result into that particular landing page because of the page load speed or the mobile speed, etc. But majority 60-70% happens. Then as a surrogate, you can always show the number of clicks, and that can be done through by the platforms, by the channels.
But the problem here, Sujit, is that some platforms give really high number of clicks but low click to visit ratio, and we know that from other brands' experience. While some give, lower number of clicks but higher quality. For example, Google search would probably be the lowest number of clicks on a plan, but it has the highest click to visit ratio. So then in terms of, telling them just a CTR objective or click objective, it's not tying to the business objective.
No, it will. Because see, Google search is something that will always perform better than any other. Because here there is a consumer intent. You are not pushing. You are just, it's a consumer pull. They have seen the information and they are automatically typing and researching and downloading, right?
No, I just meant that as an example. But like, for example, even InMobi gives us a very high CTR. But, we are not able to measure the click to visit ratio or the quality of the click that's, we are not sure if it's resulting in a download or not.
Again, so you do not have the download data. Perfectly fine. You can go and tell the client that this is what is available to us. And this is how, at best, that we can say by number of clicks.
So Arshad, I mean, don't you guys place a Google Analytics code wherein you can fetch the a correct
They
data
have
that
branch here,
out of
Prem. So instead of Google Analytics, branch is for the app. So that app analytics, unfortunately, we do not have access to. So client is not providing it. So that is still the
No, so
challenge.
guys,
So yeah.
okay, so this is slightly more technical than just placing an analytics code. Since it's an app, you couldn't possibly there.
Yeah.
And it requires a store level integration, which apparently is not there. So this data coming in is until unless that kind of integration happens, this data won't come in. So if that happens, I think the only visibility which I think we have is till the click, and that's exactly what it is. And yes, we always struggle with not knowing the quality of the click, and whether it's better to get a successful action in terms of downloads or something.
So I just had a thought here, basis the discussion that we had, and frankly, this was the account even I work on. The thought here that I had here is when we have the clicks data and it's a black box compared to we're getting the clicks, but we're not understanding if the downloads are happening and where the drop off is happening. In that case, can we do an experiment saying if, for example, YouTube is getting better clicks but no downloads, and Facebook is giving good clicks and good downloads? Maybe pause the YouTube campaign as an A/B test and see what's the incremental installs that we were getting in the past when the YouTube campaign was active, and the cost per incremental install.
In small controlled testing, you can always do. However, the primary question which you guys were asking was, if we do not have those download data, how do we showcase the result, right? So you need to find the right surrogate for that, and then tell the client.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Is there a possibility to place a small kind of a query or a kind of a survey kind of a thing so that you know how many people are, and some kind of incentive for the person? So something like that. So that there
Yes.
is that
Yes.
it's a possibility to for you to check whether they have shown interest or
Yes,
where they
but
have come from or what. But I don't know. It's yeah, I understand the downloads you will not be, but then is there some way to at least there is some bit of understanding as to
no, this can be again. So this is again based on the research and all the interest level to gauge the downloads, which you can do it. But whose investment will be this? Because any which ways the client knows how many downloads they are getting and from where, right? So they may not be paying the money, but for you to showcase the result, you have to pay the money. The agency has to pay the money. So there's these commission research can always be done.
Then push the publisher, build it, and let the overall deal with the publisher.
And the buying team can help us really in doing this by telling the publishers to put up certain surveys, how many downloads are happening, right?
So
And
on the
Sujit, even
same
there
thing,
are, yeah,
Yeah,
go on, Neha.
actually, just was pointed out. Sujit, I have a question on the Amit's question, and it more towards the Amit, right? The data that we are getting, it's where we are relying on the vendor's data or the client's data. If the client is not providing us the data, that what is the measurement that we are helping them with? And do we have any tracker in place with us where we are tracking our own data, or we just blindly on the vendor's data?
So Neha, like we tried to place the DCM, like we have done the DCM tracking, but the main issue is the client is not ready to link the branch data, like branch with any of our platform, because he's saying like there will be a security issue and he don't want to share his audiences with any of the agency or the third party. So we are stuck here.
So in that case, you won't be able to help them with the lower funnel anywhere, anytime, because you
No,
not
but
have
Neha,
that hands-on.
their main KPI is through awareness. Through awareness, they want to see the downloads, or else he's saying like why I'm burning my money on impressions.
So, in terms of the awareness, then your major KPIs would be clicks, visits, and maybe the session time if you are able to track that through your trackable tools, right? Because you don't have the hands-on on the download, how much is getting downloaded, or you don't, neither you have the soft, being able to track these soft KPI as a soft KPI, that how much downloads is there. So either it would be the case that we should have any tracking tool in place like a apps flyer or something like that, where we take the client's URL, UTM, and mapped it and share across to the all the vendors. And in that tool, we'll be able to see those downloads and those measurement. There will be a discrepancy of 10 to 15% in the client's data or the agency data, but at least you'll be able to track something out of it.
That's correct, Mohan. That actually I agree with you there. So the usage of apps layer, but the problem is like, and again, it is how it is ad serving. It's additional comes with additional cost. The challenge what we are facing is that we are not getting approval for that. That's where we are stuck. So the branch is there already. So with that branch,
So
so we are getting all the analytics. The data is not being shared to us, and if we want to validate from our side, where our hands have been tied.
So Anil, in that
so
case,
Anil,
we should strongly go back to the
and
client
Amit,
by saying, yeah, Rooney.
sorry. So I think I've also kind of attended couple of discussions around this
Yeah.
topic. The reality still remains that if there is no branch level integration, there is no way to accurately predict the impact of branding in terms of the kind of performance it would result in. That is the only way to know this. In absence of that, I think the narrative we need to drive is if there is no integration, even when the KPI is performance will not be able to help, because that data is not coming in. If the data doesn't come in, there is no way to run an attribution because the
Yeah.
system cannot understand what is the event success. And if I don't
Yeah.
know what is the event, the success is, then I will not be able to look at I would not be able to use the look back
Yeah.
window and say that where did
That's
the
where we
journey
are
initiated
actually.
from and what role it played and all of that.
Yeah.
So
That's where we
there
are
is
actually
no
right now.
other alternative to a branch level integration.
Yeah, that's where we are right now, Adani. So there's no right now we are just giving the quantitative insights. We are not giving able to give the qualitative one. So so the client has accepted it, and we have accepted it. We are just trying to see if there is any different way, like where Sujit has like anyone has come across and acted differently. But yeah, this helps.
No,
Thank you.
this is very technical. This is not really a planning or a
Yeah, yeah,
attribution challenge. This is a technical challenge. You are, they have their limitations in terms of being able to, integrate or integrate the ecosystem the way it should be. And if that is not done, we'll continue to have those challenges. It's a fairly technical problem, not really a planning or a media challenge, so to say.
I definitely agree to the Aruni's point. It's a technical challenge, but it's definitely going to hamper the planning too, right? So I would suggest you should go back to the client by saying, and you should have first the operation person in place who could help you with the this getting the this amplifier in place, app flyers and everything. And there we can ask the client, because that op person is would be a more wisely there to get the integration of the client's data and the mapping of the all the data into our account and on our dashboard.
So that's what it is. Coming back to the process, this whole customer journey process, even before you start planning and all and devising the measurement, once you have identified the solution, it is always better to deploy the right tools and tech so that you can have the right measurement in place. Make sense?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Sujit.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, any other questions, etc.? Because we are nearing time. I am open.
I have
Oh,
a
great.
very
Okay, I do have
common
one question,
question.
Sujeet. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so I have a very common question to ask in the problem which typically we face while planning any media campaign. Is how to measure the effectiveness of the campaign, be it offline campaign, be it your digital campaign. So if you could just tell us few points that what all step we should take to measure the effectiveness of the campaign, whether the campaign is successfully delivered or not. So can be I think great.
Yeah. Okay. Again,
That's a very common question. I think we
that's a
keep
very
on
common question.
struggling behind this. Yeah, yeah.
That's a very common question, actually. So, once the client, in general, in practice, earlier the client used to have a brand track data on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis, from where they know that, okay, the source of information, which is the ad awareness, etc., from which source is it happening and which one is performing on a monthly basis. Is it going up, going down, etc.? So that used to show the campaign measurement and the medium measurement. But as the more digital landscape has started to evolve, there are much more better measurement techniques rather than waiting for the brand track to happen. And the most right now effective one, which the whole world is following, is the search. Because this is a customer pull. This is a customer intent. Just keep looking at a search on a daily level or a weekly level. You'll get to know. For example, if you have a print ad or day after tomorrow, just look at what is the search volume in the past 2-3 days versus the day the ad is appearing. In my experience, I have seen from 7 o'clock till 11 o'clock in the morning, the search trend, the search volume goes up. After that, it starts to diminish. That is the role of the print because it comes in the morning. That is how you can measure it.
Right, right.
And if it is television, you can see it on a weekly level, that what has been pre-campaign period, what has been during the campaign period. Has there been a significant lift or not? But in this, be mindful of the fact that you need to normalize the search volume data. Stability index is very important in this because search typically get influenced by several factors, not just media. Even a negative sentiment which is going up, for example, a car explosion has happened on the road and there is a negative news which is appearing, people start to look at the search, etc. And there is a negative social sentiment that also you can measure. These are some of the techniques to continuously measure. And digital, we have the real-time data to track.
Thank you, Sujit. It really helps. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we are done. So, any
Parag
other
has sent
questions?
a question, Sujit.
There is one question on the chat, sorry.
Yeah, Faraz has sent one.
Okay.
Hey, only if the time permits, Sujit. I'm sorry, I'm keeping you here on the Friday evening.
Just wanted your POV based on your experience. Not every question has to have an answer, right? I treat data as Bible and equip myself with data as much as I can. How have you come across a situation where client is not ready to trust the source of the data itself? If so, how did you handle that? Bang on question. Bang on question. So this is again related to a lot of publisher data or a lot of media partner data the client will never trust. The client trusts their own data. The client trusts Google's data. In those situations, you just need to validate the two sources and see the variance, see the deviation. Try to identify both the profiles. If all the variables are matching and there is not much of a deviation in the sample size as well, then the variation should not be there. Then you can show the comparison again to the client that see this is what it is coming. So it is a trustworthy source.
True that, Sujit, that's actually wishful, to be very honest. Unfortunately, sometimes the data is so niche and particularly granular and specific that we are not able to find the sources or like any other secondary sources. But I get it. And hence, as I said, not everything has to have an answer. And this is a challenge that we face a lot, and not just over here. In course of my experience throughout the media planning journey and strategy, I have been facing this question a lot. That's great.
So
But
the
yeah,
answer may not be accurate always, but you can use that as a direction. Data doesn't tell you to do anything. Data just gives you an indication what to do. We are here to take decisions on behalf of the client. And the client is there to take decision based on our recommendations.
True. Yeah. Yeah. I agree, Sujit. Yes.
Thank you so much, Sujeet.
And also from experience, one
Yeah, I know you're breaking up a lot. Anupama, your voice is breaking a lot.
to wrap up the same point. Along with the data, which gives you a guidance, it's also your gut feel and your experience that adds to the overall point. So to arrive at any direction or solution. So agree to what Sujit said. So I just wanted to make that point. Thanks.
Rajkaran Vaidya, he has asked one question. What is the normal OTS we can operate on digital on e-commerce site and automobile sector if we are running only digital campaign? The answer to this is pretty straightforward. At what frequency level you have the optimal conversion or the maximum conversion happening. So as you build a reach curve, you can always build a frequency curve. Because in most of the reports, especially in automobile, where there is a high involvement, you get a lot of path lengths.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Sujit. So the answer to this is you in digital specifically, you end up getting a path length report, which
Yeah.
would tell you that where does that delta comes in, or where does the number start flattening out. So yeah, that's the number. There is no set rule for OTS. It changes, or frequency, it changes as per the objective, as per the category, as per the platform. So there is no set rule as such and it really differs from depending on what's being happening.
As per the life stage of the brand and the brand equity as well. So Rajkaran, is it okay?
I mean, there's one last question, but I know we are beyond time. Should I ask, or
Yeah.
let
Please carry
get
on.
get everyone go ahead with the Friday? So basically, it's we have a concrete brief from a client. It is specifically about the consideration that we have to build consideration. We have to build clicks, conversions in that forum. The brief states, but as an external factor, when festival things comes up, altogether the client mind change. No, our competitor is doing some impactful, some awareness category with the limited budget they have. We have invested whole our media planning strategizer towards building the consideration. All of the sudden, because of an external factor, such as a festival in India, which is hugely celebrated, for that one festival external factor, she built the entire thing towards the awareness side, which is like a clutter among all the other brands promoting it. At that point, what do you think our suggestion should be so that we can stick to our own consideration, our own plan, what we have suggested in front of the client at the first place, instead of deviating it just because their competitors are doing it?
Go back and tell the client that you are changing the goalpost. If the goalpost changes, the approach changes. Because your problem statement, if it is consideration, the problem statement, it cannot have a awareness as an answer. And hence the plan will differ. Are you guys willing to do that? If they agree to it, you have nailed it. Because they have to agree on one thing. Either change the objective or keep the objective to maximize.
Got that. As far as I know, the client, they will say, no, no, we can go ahead with what our competitor says.
Fine. You are there as a effective advisory role and you have given the advice. Their role is to take decision. They have taken the decision. Just follow it. But at the same time, it is well documented. Changing the goalpost will change the
But do you
result.
think, as a strategy, is it very good to follow what competitors are following? You have the largest share of voice in the industry, but still you want to follow what your competitors are doing. I mean, is it a very healthy way to go ahead, or bringing up new thing if that's a go ahead thing? What do you suggest here?
Well, I mean, there are mixed answers to this question. You need to understand and always analyze what are the good things which the competition is doing so that you can have it in your media plan and eliminate the wastage. Yet you have to bring in differentiation in your plan so as to differentiate from the competitor. And what I call this kind of a planning is a secular planning, wherein you take in the competition analysis and the data and fuse it into a particular brand media plan, secular media planning.
Got it, Sujit. I guess this really helps. Thank you.
I think it's a Friday and we all want to wind up. So thank you so much, Sujit. And thank you everyone for making it an engaging session. Uh, any other questions? I think Sujit is
Always there.
if you have, yeah, that's the thing. So thank you so much and thank you, Sujit.
Thank you all.
See you on Monday.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Megha, for organizing this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujeet.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Most
Thank you,
welcome.
Sujeet.
Have
Thank
a
you,
good
Sujit.
Friday. Yeah.
You too.
Thank you.
Happy
Thank you.
weekend. See you all.
Bye.
Thank you.
We will try and get sponsorship.